My name is Oran. I'm Technical Program Manager for Riot Games Productions. I work in live content services. I have the pleasure of working with Sam and Marc to help produce and throw live events across the world for League of Legends, Valorant, and Wild Rift. So let's have some introductions. Can you tell everyone your name and your title and what do you do for Riot Games?
Yeah, I'm Marc Hilko. I'm the Senior Manager of Esports Production Management. I head up production and operations for our global events and also, work incorporating our regions. And yeah.
I'm Sam Chaimson. I'm a manager of live broadcast production. I oversee the broadcast functions for our League of Legends global events like the Mid-Season Invitational and the World Championship, and handle everything from the pre-production collaboration with the events team where we develop set, scenic, staging, brand integration, to managing our broadcast partners around the world. For Worlds this year, we've got 22 partners broadcasting in 19 languages, which is really cool. And when it comes to showtime, I'm in the truck calling the show along with our directing team and all the folks that make it happen.
Wow, that's a mouthful. So all of that, Marc, you help to orchestrate, create budgets, and manage all of the resources to help Sam produce the show. Can you elaborate on that for me, please?
Yeah, my team works very closely with Sam to bring his vision to life. And it's dependent on regions and resources and where we go and what we do. So we, in the production side, have a group of 5 departments. We have physical production, so your lighting, audio, set, scenic. We do event logistics, so everything that has to do with the human element, whether it's travel or hotels, transportation, catering. We have sort of technical management, so video, audio, I/O. We have player management, so a department focused on the experience and relationships with our pro players to ensure that that goes all smooth. And we work very closely with production finance.
Exciting. So I think one of the things about working in gaming and gaming development and esports, the question I think comes up a lot, are you a gamer? Do you guys play games? Can you tell me that about yourself, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been playing games my whole life. Grew up playing Nintendo and graduated to playing a lot of Counter-Strike back in the day. Amateur competitive, I was really bad, but still had a lot of fun with it. That was my first foray into the esports world. And to this day, I still like to dabble in competition. I play a lot of Tekken 7. I love the FGC. And this year I competed at EVO. I drowned in pools, but I didn't go 0-2, so I'll take it.
Hey, Marc, would you consider yourself a gamer?
Definitely a gamer. Grew up in the Mario camp and still play that actually. Transferred over PlayStation, not as big of a PC gamer because it just wasn't as accessible for me growing up. But yeah, love like the Final Fantasy VII, Super Mario 64, playing on the old LAN before we had great dial-up internet, that sort of thing. But yeah, I think a lot of people, I feel like in our realm have somewhat of a gaming background, and I feel like gaming is really relatable to a lot of people. So you could be a fan of Gin Rummy, and I still consider you a gamer. It doesn't necessarily have to be also.
I love that about our ecosystem. It's quite universal, and I think one of the gains that we try to achieve is how we can make it much more diverse. Are you ranked? Have you been ranked in League of Legends at some point, Marc? What I hear?
When I first started to learn more about the game and the type of production and who the audience was that we were appealing to, I did play a lot of League of Legends. I did get to Silver 5, which I'm super, super proud of. We were joking earlier because I was like, Silver 6, that's Gold 1. But I do also play Wild Rift, and I am Gold in Wild Rift, so yeah.
I don't think I made it past aluminum as it pertains to being ranked in League of Legends. So let's talk about how you turned a pastime into a career. Can you tell me about your transition from being a gamer to finding a career in television and esports?
Sure. So when I got out of school, I was doing a lot of freelance film and TV work, everything from production to post-production, whatever I could do to get gigs and jobs here and there in LA. And at some point, I got turned on to League of Legends esports and really fell in love with Worlds 2013, so Season 3. I just thought it was a really amazing product. I was super impressed with how Riot was developing content that wasn't gimmicky, it wasn't marketing, it wasn't full of ads and sponsors. It was really about making something that celebrated esports, celebrated the passion of pro players, and celebrated fans. And then from there, it was off to the races. I knew that's the kind of content I wanted to work on. I knew that's what I had to do. So from there, it was knocking on every door and turning over every stone and using every connection I could make to just get my foot in the door. And a year later at Worlds 2014, I was a production assistant. Nothing fancy. I was getting coffee and making photocopies, but it was just an amazing experience. It was a great environment to work in, and the rest is history.
Very nice, very nice. Tell us about your transition from being a gamer to finding your role into television production.
I think coupled with gaming, I've always loved live TV. And similar to Sam, you touched on a really good point, making connections and building relationships and forming bonds. And that's always been a key part in my growth and my ability to continue working with other shows, other departments, other aspects of production. So I started essentially I interned quite a bit, but one of my favorites was for G4 because I found that my passion for production, growing up watching live TV and whatnot, was best attached to either music or video games. I worked a lot of reality TV, and it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but working for G4 and having, pop culture, YouTube clips, video game clips, it was just opened up my eyes and my world of being okay, there's other aspects of production rather than just necessarily, scripted or episodic that could take so many different directions. So that's sort of my relationship with video games, particularly, and my start of production specifically.
Very nice, very nice. I think here at Riot, we have such a great opportunity to see all facets of entertainment, whether we're talking the creative side, whether we're talking technical engineering, and all the different facets that happen within esports. But we also champion music. Each year we come up with theme songs for our live events, and those go on to get millions upon millions of streams. So that's quite exciting that we're in this industry. Now, if we could just cut to one of our videos, we can get an idea of what we've done collectively in esports production.
In slow-mo, I'm a guy but I actually don't know. I'm a better pride aside. I'm a Benzie more like a Volvo. Yo, that stuff looks like my words. Sitting out to fire and birds. Got the whole crew with me, but it don't damage. You know we ain't answer. I ain't gonna set that there, but this is my time. Better look in my eyes. I'm chilling to the skies in my heart. I don't see. Fall to a blind, so keep this prime. Everybody got a line. Sit back when the stars align. I'm finessing my life on the line. Was it never in a rough, and now I shine.
No one can stop us. They'll try, but they won't. Nothing's clear, they're bright. Oh no, we're wide awake now. Our eyes are wide open. We're running this world. We're keeping it turning. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We're giants. Oh, sleeping giants. Sleeping giants. Shutting it down. Been on the ground. My people all up in this place. Spinning this thing. Going in my brain. Royalty up in my veins. I'm no clothing. I'm so cold. I see something. Ain't no going back. Now they ask what Kiki said. I'm like, you They'll try, but they won't. Nada nos puede parar. Oh no, we're wide awake now. Our eyes are wide open. We're running this world. We're keeping it turning. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We giants. You thought that we were weak, but we coming right back. This time you're gonna see how we do it like that. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We giants. Sleeping giants.
I keep one shot at a time. I might just leave you behind. Don't mean you stuck on rewind. You should go sleeping on mine. Wait, you got your back up a climb. When I damage your delicate spine, please don't act out, shine surprise. They be like, what you mean? What is your winning scheme? I got a giant team. Big as my self-esteem. Running back, running man. They think they go hard, I'm like, come again. You running this time when I'm busting in. When you stop, I got this pain in my head when you punish me.
We're wide awake now. Our eyes are wide open. We're running this world. We're keeping it turning. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We giants. You thought that we were weak, but we coming right back. This time you're gonna see how we do it like that. We're living like giants. Yeah, giants. We're bigger than giants. We giants. Sleeping giants. Sleeping giants.
Wow, that was a throwback in time. It was a pretty exciting event that we had there with True Damage. I think it was one of the first events where we started to introduce just how diverse we are with our music genres. I think we had 4 different genres or 3 different genres represented there. But the technology that went behind that particular show was a first use for Riot Games. I thought we brought it to the audience quite well. We used a hollow screen, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That was the full length of the stage. So the characters that you watch in that video are not all actual live people. They're digitally enhanced and projected on the screen. Mm-hmm. And that transition between live and hollow screen was flawless. Tell us a little bit about the behind the scenes work that you did with that.
I just want to say when I watch that, I still get super excited. I'm just as much of a fan of the work that we do as hopefully the audience that we do it for. But, you know, it's funny putting that together and still just watch them like, oh my God, like I can't believe we did that. Like, oh, we put this and this and this and this and this is the product that comes out of it. Yeah, I just want to say it was awesome. Yeah.
+1. I mean, it's, you still get goosebumps. It's still really exciting. And then you remember the really disappointing series where G2 got smashed by Fun Plus Phoenix, but this part was really exciting.
Very fast.
What I loved about this opening ceremony compared to some of the ones we've done in the past, we had success with a lot of special effects like the AR Dragon or KDA, but what I really loved about this one was everything was through the lens practical effect. Like obviously the things projected on the holoscreen were pre-produced and involved green screen and like all kinds of compositing and things like that, but the actual performance and the actual show was all practical and through the lens. And from a tech perspective and a storytelling perspective and a craft perspective, it's just a lot of fun. It's a really cool challenge and it's really amazing to see come together.
I especially remember the first time I saw the technology was maybe about 4 months prior to the show, and the holoscreen demo was about 6 feet by 4 feet, and they're like, oh, we can do this, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. It just looks like a net. And then got called up to do the technical rehearsal where we had to rent a sound stage while you guys were in Germany actually having the play-ins and group stages. We were building a mock-up of that set here in Los Angeles, and initially I didn't get it, and then the dancers came in and they were doing all the tweaks, all of the adjustments to make it hit, and then all of a sudden it turned into something that was just magical. And I think that's one of the things that we do year over year with our world events, our MSIs, and what have you. So I would encourage you guys to, go take a look. Just look up League of Legends World's opening ceremonies. For any of the last given years, you'll see some of the tech. Now that we know a lot about what your background is and what we do in live sports, esports, live production. What advice would you have for our students that may want to pursue a career in what we do?
I could take that one first.
Yeah.
So I think the interesting thing about production from my point of view is essentially there's many aspects of it that you can do. Like it takes a city to put our shows together. And whether you're interested in hair, makeup, and wardrobe, or being a producer, graphics production and creative, there's electricians, there's carpentry, there's choreography and dancing. So I think if you're interested in anything, essentially, you could apply that to live event production in a sense. And as we said earlier, it's a lot about the relationships that you make and the connections that you make along the way. I remember there was a time that I was getting hired as a production coordinator, and it was all simply word of mouth. The executive producers that I worked really hard for told my name to somebody else, and it got pushed around, and I'm calling for availabilities and that sort of thing. So it's not always necessarily what you do, but also how you do it and how you carry yourself and the connections that you make along the way.
Roger that. And Sam?
I think what's really important, and what was really important in my experience, is learning from something you really care about and something you love. When I was starting out my career, I had done multicam, live production events, things like that, but it was a lot of corporate events, that kind of genre. And I didn't care about TV. I didn't want to do live production. I wanted to do film. I wanted to do single camera. I wanted to make things that I thought were really cool. But once I turned towards esports and got really into that, it was off to the races. And now I've been doing TV for the last 9 years. So I just think clinging to something and finding something that you're truly interested in, even if it's not your ultimate passion, but something that you can grab onto and latch onto and really motivate yourself to invest, is super clutch. And it makes learning and it makes growing and it makes cutting your teeth that much more entertaining and that much more exciting. I said before that my first Worlds, I was getting coffee and making photocopies and things like that. But it was still an amazing show. I remember it just as fondly as I remember any of the other shows that we're talking about. And it was a truly special experience because I was a part of something, even a very, very small part of something that I thought was really important and that was really special. So
Nice.
Pursuing those things motivated me a lot more than, the idea of being a TV producer or whatever.
Thank you. So, listen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for joining the panel today and coming out and speaking about what we do in esports live production. Closing words, we hope to see you guys someday where we're at, either in front of the camera or behind the scenes. There's a lot of exciting careers within live production, so hope to see you soon. And thank you for having us.